Well, as you can see, I am not on the set, and Nate is not with me. We are actually in a little bit of a crunch because we're trying to figure out all of our technical problems that we've been having lately. Hopefully we'll get those resolved soon, but I did not want to go a full 3 weeks without another episode. So we are going to go ahead and give you what is called episode 1.5. It's not going to be a full episode. We're just going to have a couple of features that I hope you enjoy. We're going to go ahead and start off by giving you an interview that Nate had with Ben Dustin from Rusted Match Productions. He's going to talk a little bit about what goes into cosplay photography.
Hello guys, I'm here with one Mr. Ben Dustin here, who is a professional cosplay photographer?
Semi-professional.
Semi-professional? Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
What got you into cosplay photography?
I took 4 years of it in high school, got all the way up to the AP course, and at MTech 2014, a friend of mine said, get your camera, we're going to go shoot in the field. And I just got into it from there.
Well, I know it usually takes more than just a camera and a cosplayer to do what you do. What other kind of equipment do you use?
I have a Nikon D7200 that I use a 24 and a 50 prime lenses. I've got a telephoto lens if I need it. I have a Nueer ring light that runs off of battery power that I can take and light up anyone in whatever space we happen to be in. That's a beauty light, as it's also known as. Nice big ones that I can get a nice spread of light. I have a couple diffusers that I'll bring out with some flashes to get certain colored lights around. I have a studio setup I'm starting to use more with people who I shoot at home. And just a bunch of other lighting equipment.
Well, that's pretty cool. How do you prepare for a cosplay photo shoot, aside from checking and cleaning equipment?
I'll look up the characters, I will try to find poses, I will scout out locations, I'll try to look up the people online to see what they like to do.
Well, that's pretty cool. Have you seen any differences between masculine characters versus female character cosplay?
If it's a feminine character, I will try to make a softer light or have more stereotypical feminine poses. Masculine characters will do the same. I have a lot of friends who will do both characters, men and women. I have a friend who did an open shirt binding character from Free, and she came off very masculine, so we had to light for that as well. And I had another friend who does male and female characters. So it's the same person, but we'll have to pose them differently or light them differently, especially with other people if they're doing superhero characters. It's a lot of very dramatic posing.
What about, how important is the location of your shoots?
Appropriate locations are definitely something you may not always have. We were at Shakespeare & Company for LCTC to shoot one of my friend's crocodile cosplay from One Piece.
Okay.
Which that came off really nice.
That sounds fun.
Versus having, a lot of times if I'm at OMG Con in Owensboro, you run out of locations really fast, so they get stale and sometimes don't always fit the character. The convention center is the entire convention, so it's not exactly conducive to shoot in there. But once you get outside, there's no shade. There's very little scenery within walking distance of the con. So you're kind of stuck to a few locations, and they're not always appropriate.
Right, I can understand that. Well, it's spring right here. What areas of Kentucky would you recommend for cosplay photography?
For cosplay photography in Kentucky, definitely the Arboretum at UK, the Yuko Japanese Gardens in Georgetown. They're both in bloom right now, or they will be soon, so definitely in the spring and then later in the fall are great times to go visit those places. We try to choose different parks in Lexington to go to. We try to do that at least once a month.
I know it's all about the setting and such. What would you say would be the best time for photo shoots?
I like to shoot, I think the best time is around sunset or in the early morning before the sun gets really high. You avoid a lot of just discolored faces with shadows and just in-your-face sun. So typically any time during those times.
That makes a lot of sense. I think it's pretty cool. how should cosplayers prepare for your photo shoot, aside from having their cosplay ready by the time they get there?
Know what they want out of the shoot, pose-wise or photo-wise. Have reference photos to come with. That way it makes my job easier. They can also come if they need someone to be with them, or they need a handler, have the handler with them. So someone to touch up makeup, or if they have a bulky prop or a bulky costume, just someone to take care of that.
All right. Well, then you've had a lot of experience then doing all this. What would you say has been your most satisfying shoot?
Probably ACEN 2014. I had a cosplayer with, ACEN 2016. I had a cosplayer who cosplayed Toriel from Undertale. They had a big face prosthetic that, at the end of the day, with their face prosthetic and their face painted all white, everything was cracked and just coming apart. So I did all the photos, and then when I got it into post, it was just painstakingly touching up all those cracks and blending the prosthetic so it looked natural on her face. If I consider the shoot from beginning to final product, the way it all turned out was by far the most satisfying.
Right. Is there anything else you want to share with people that are interested in cosplay photography?
Practice makes perfect. A lot of the times, just go out and shoot whatever. I host monthly shoots here in Lexington just so I can have the practice and I don't get stale. Because sometimes you don't know when your next convention is going to be. Practice, talking with your people, making sure that you know what you need to do for your shoots, and that you get to know your cosplayers. Because a lot of the times when you know your cosplayers, they'll come back to you or recommend you, and you build up a nice little rapport with them.
It sounds like you've brought a lot of experience here to the table. We really appreciate that. Thank you very much for your time today, Ben.
Sure thing.
So I hope you found that interview as entertaining and as informative as I did. Nate had a good time putting it together, and I'm glad he had the opportunity to do that. I want to thank Ben Dustin for helping us out there, and in future shows we'll probably be getting together with Ben to actually see what goes on at the photo shoot, which will be really cool. Coming up, I've got a little bit of a package on how you can put together your very own fan panel, which was kind of inspired by Nate's first bit about how to actually attend a panel. Hope you enjoy it.
Okay, so you are the superfan. You can tell everybody why the lamp was placed in the right corner of the room in Season 3, Episode 12, and how it foreshadowed the arrival of a new threat. You're ready to share your knowledge with the world and have decided it's time to host your very own fan panel. But you've never done this before. What do you need to make a truly great panel? Well, the good news is that your knowledge is a great start. But you need to be able to organize that information in a manner that is entertaining and easy to follow. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to help you organize your fandom into a panel that will have people all over the con talking. So the first thing you want to think about is how to involve your audience visually. If they just wanted to hear you talk about it, they'd catch the podcast. Most conventions will have technology available to help you with this, a projector that you can hook your computer up to. While it sounds more like a board meeting, having a slideshow prepared is a fantastic visual aid, and it allows you to add audio, video, and still images to engage your audience. A lot of us don't want to shell out the money to get PowerPoint from Microsoft, but you can download OpenOffice for free and we'll get the same use out of it. I like free, and if you don't know how to use it, I have a link to a tutorial in the show notes. Be careful when using video. You can overdo it more easily than you think. Time seems to stretch when you're presenting, and what you thought was a brief clip from your favorite show starts to drag on and your point ends up getting lost. Just as a quick example, this is a 10-second video clip from Felix the Cat, which I used to illustrate because it's public domain and, once again, free to use.
But the odds were against me. Giants were coming at me from all directions. But was I afraid? Not old King Cole. With one mighty stroke of my trusty sword, I slew them all.
It's okay to use longer clips than 10 seconds, but just be aware that it's longer than you think, and you want to keep things moving so you don't lose your audience. Most of the time, your audience will be almost as large a fan of the topic as you are, so they want to add their own knowledge and insight to the proceedings. And that's okay, so long as you plan for it. And you do want to plan for it because they don't want to be lectured to. They want to experience the panel. If you want to wait until the end of the panel to take questions, then say so at the start of the panel. If you're going to have breakpoints for interaction throughout the panel, have real prompts in your slideshow for it. Then again, let them know at the start of the panel. The cool thing is that you will pick up tidbits of information you didn't know about, and you can use that the next time you present your panel. Updating your material is always a good idea. That guy will be at your panel because that guy is at every panel. Sometimes your audience will help you keep that guy in check, but be prepared and know how you're going to deal with that guy. I mean, yes, there is the nuclear option of asking him to leave, but honestly, that is not usually the best way to deal with him. Know that you are not going to win a debate with him, so don't get sucked into one. Know your material well enough that you can steer yourself back on track when he derails you with a question out of left field. And stay calm. If you get flustered, you may get sympathy from some of the members of the audience, but most will see that as a sign that you weren't prepared and start to lose interest. So that's all we've got here. This is how you put together a successful panel, and a little bit later on we'll give you some tips on how to make sure that your panel gets accepted at the con that you want to go to.
So that's about all that we've got for you right now. We do have some packages that we're going to go ahead and throw into the next show once we figure out all of our technology issues. We've got a package on Lexicon, which was a wonderful gaming convention that we just recently got to attend. We also have some information on your Ultimate Con Survival Kit. So hopefully you guys will stick with us, and I appreciate your patience while we get all the technical issues sorted out. And I will see you as soon as we get our next show up. Thanks.